What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade, basketball analysis. Finishing off my top five player list with the centers. The last, the biggest, the strongest, and in the past, the most dominant and most sought after position. And we're starting to see a lot of guys become stars, all stars at the center position. And some of the best players, like defensive players and MVPs, are in this um, position. And I want to tell you my honorable mentions first and go 5 to 1. So stay tuned throughout the whole video. Number 8, Clint Capela. He actually was pretty good for the Hawks. He was exactly what they needed. People thought Clint Capela would be good for them, but they didn't think he'd be this good for them. He was all NBA fourth team. And I don't think I would have thought that going into the season, but that's where he was at the end of the season. It just shows you how smart he is, knowing where to be, knowing how to protect the rim, which they needed, rebounding at a high elite level. Clint Capella did all the dirty work with hustle, effort, energy, and did all the small things that they needed him to do coming in, and he was able to do it for the entire season for the Atlanta Hawks. And it's always good having those guys that don't need the ball, don't complain about having the ball. And it's also good to have guys that you don't have to run plays for. And Capella does all that plus rebound at a high level. I got to give him his props and his due for that. 7, Nicola Vuchovic. He has been an all-star caliber player for the last couple years. Not just the ones he made it, but even in the conversations, the ones he didn't. It is mainly because this guy understands the game. He really does. He knows how to put the ball in the basket in multiple ways. He can shoot the three efficiently. He can hit the mid range. He can post up, right hook, left hook, and shoot free throws and rebound at a solid level. Vucevic has been an all around big. Not the greatest passer, not the greatest defender, but he's so valuable because of his spacing ability and the fact that he can kill switches with his post up ability and just go one on one and get you a bucket. Vucevic is a special player. He isn't the guy that you go crazy over, but he is a guy that you wouldn't mind having on your team just because he is a professional and he is a guy that you can give the ball to in multiple ways and he can put it in the basket at the center position while also being a guy you can actually run your offense through sometimes. Especially if we can see it this year with the Bulls when they had way more talent and way more better shot creators than the Magic had. So maybe we see a revitalized Vucevic making the All Star team again and being that dominant force that he is in the middle. And if he can do that, it's just only going to make the Bulls live up to the expectation that they put upon themselves by making all these moves to satisfy Zach and Vooch. I feel like they didn't have enough talent last year, and they still was a couple games away, a couple injuries away from possibly being a playing team. They don't have that excuse this year as they have more talent and a lot of it looks like it fits better on paper, but we still have to see the results. But I do know if Vucevic healthy, he's going to be a factor for this team, and he was able to be that pretty much the entire season with Orlando and with the Bulls. Number 5, Bam Adebayo. The reason why I put him on Vuce is because he can score, not the greatest scorer, but he is a better playmaker than Vucevic and Clint Capella. Not only that, he is still a good rebounder. And he's also a guy that can hit a mid range. He can post up a little bit. He can also finish at elite level in the paint. So Bam has done a lot of everything. And that's what makes him good. Still needs to work on that 3-point shot if he wants to become an even better weapon for the Miami Heat. But I like the fact that he plays hard. I like the fact that he protects the rim. I like the fact that he's switchable. You can put him on the perimeter against guards and forwards, and he can stay in front of them, make them run into help defense, and really just contest shots. And you need a big that can protect the rim. You need a big that can rebound, and you need a big that can give you a little space. And Bam gives you all that. Plus, he can give you good screens. He sets good players up because he can get them space like Tyler Hero, like Duncan Robinson, but he also can play in the pick and roll with guys like Jimmy Butler and give them space and more room to operate and score and facilitate. And he can also do that too. So Bam is a huge piece for Miami. They gave him the money, they gave him the commitment, and it's because of his work ethic. But not only that, he's a great team player, but he also is a great defender and passer, while also being an improved scorer each and every year. For Towns, everybody's low on Towns because he's not having those dominant all-star caliber seasons anymore. But when you look up the numbers, he still is one of the best centers. He can still give you 20 and 10 each and every night, can still shoot 36 or above from three, can still give you mid-range shooting, can still post up and hit you with the fade, hit you with the left or the right, can hit the free throws at a highly efficient clip for a center. This guy may not be a great defender still to this day, but this guy literally sacrificed a lot of his offense for Anthony Edwards. He let Anthony Edwards be the guy. He let Anthony Edwards get the touches. He let Anthony Edwards show out when he could have been jealous of him. He could have been angry of him. He could have said, "This is my team." Instead, he let Anthony Edwards grow into a superstar that he might become while also still being productive in his own right. He still needs to commit on defensive end if he wants to be known as a winner. He did make it to the playoffs before, but he hasn't been able to do it consistently and successfully throughout his career with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Maybe we can think about them different a couple years from now. But when I look at Towns, he is a complete package offensively, and he is the ideal center that you want to play with when you are a guard or a forward because his ability to score in multiple ways, but also space the floor out to the three-point line to allow you to go isolation or even have an ability just to take your guy off the dribble. And he is a guy that if you kick it out to, he will splash it. 38% from three. Towns is a beast, especially when he's engaged and locked in. Number three, this is easy, Gobert. Gobert is probably one of the worst offensive players on this list, but his defense is Defensive Player of the Year caliber. He has won that award so many times, and I think he can win it more just because he's just that good. And his defense is the team. They need him to be switchable. He did struggle with that with the Clippers, but this perimeter defenders didn't help him either. You need everybody to be on the string, and for Gobert to be as great as he is defensively, and for him to be able to be their force in the paint and be this good at it, plus be a good rebounder and be a solid passer now, but he still can finish. He is a guy that you throw that ball up to, he will finish. You give him the ball in the paint, even though he's not a great free throw shooter, he still isn't scared to go up there and try to score or even get the shot up. So Gobert is still a work in progress. He still needs to add a little bit more touch. He still needs to add a little bit more ferocity. But when I look at him as the Defensive Player of the Year, which I felt like he should have won even last year over Giannis, it just shows you how much of a dominant force. He's just that good defensively, plus is pretty decent offensively, depending on what you need him to do. He's limited, but he still does the bulk of what Utah need him to do, and that's set good screens, give guys space, give guys their first step, and protect the heck out of the paint and in the mid-range area. And that's where he specializes in. Number two, Embiid. Embiid has been a complete player, one of the best defensive players in the league, not center, but one of the best defensive players in the league. Can kill you in the post, whether it's face up, back down. He can also kill you with the mid range if it's a little farther out. He has shown great improvements at the three-point line, and he has shown that he can be dominant. He did flop a little bit in the postseason, especially against the Atlanta Hawks, and his durability is what's going to continue to keep him as a must-watch player. Can he stay healthy? How long will he be out? And can his team be successful without him? That's the biggest problem with Embiid. He just can't stay on the court. And it's just unfortunate because the guy is just so talented, and he did work hard because he looks totally better now than when he was in college and as a rookie. And that's a testament to his work ethic and his love for the game, because I see enormous improvements since then to now, but the health has not changed. And that's the part that sucks about Embiid. And number one, Jokic, he's the MVP. To me, he is the best center. His playmaking is just way better than everybody's. His offensive game, to me, is also better than everybody's because he can face you up. He can post you up left, right hook, hit you with the free throws, hit you from the mid-range, hit you from the three, and even shuffle a little bit to get that jump shot to go in. Jokic is a complete scorer, just like Embiid. He's just as good of a scorer as Embiid. But Embiid is the better defender, but I also feel like Jokic is a significantly better passer and playmaker than anybody on this entire list, even Bam. That's how good of an offensive player Jokic is. He is the ideal center to play with outside of being a rim protector. Other than that, you gotta give Embiid his edge on the rim protection, but you gotta give Jokic his complete pass because he's just that good offensively. And the fact that you look at it, they didn't have Jamal Murray, and he was still able to get them to a top 5 seed in the West. And on top of that, they got out of the first round with a healthy Portland team and gave Phoenix a little competition, even though they got swept. He just didn't have enough to score, but he did the best he could, even though he did do that foul. They pretty much ruined their chance of not being swept. But Jokic had a dream season. A guy that's a second round pick, a guy that don't think will be what he is, which is a multiple time All Star, multiple All NBA first team player. But his work ethic, his love and the passion for game, and his ability to literally dominate a game, going for 50, going for 40, carrying his team, not making excuses, doing whatever it takes for this team to win, even if they had the talent or not. He did that throughout the entire season and even in the playoffs. So Jokic is still the number one center in the NBA. Felt like that last year. That hasn't changed this year, but Embiid is just right there. You could make an argument that he could have passed him, but Jokic was pretty dominant, consistent throughout the entire year, all the way to the playoffs, and then he got eliminated. Jokic, still number one center. Other than that, let me know what I got right, what I got wrong, what you feel about my list. Let me know your list in there, and let me know who should be up, who should be down. Other than that, I'm going. Quinn Wade, basketball, and also signing out.